Hey there, how are you doing today? Hope you're doing well, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I'm Daryl Ballard, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the rat race escape plan. Now, I'm really excited to talk about this today. I don't know why I haven't done this sooner. This is actually the reason that this channel exists. The reason I made this channel in the first place. We'll get back to that in just a minute. But so you know, I put up lots of content about escaping the rat race, how to do that with an online business. And if that's something you're interested in, you can check out my channel, subscribe. You'll find lots of good information there. Also, I wanted to let you know that the first couple of links are about things that I'm doing right now to help me escape the rat race, and a free 4-day course on how you can start your own successful online business. So check those out. And you can do any of those things at any time during the video. You don't have to wait clear until the end. All right, so let's talk about the rat race escape plan. Now, like I say, this is the reason the channel exists, and I'll tell you just briefly a little bit about my story and why that's important to me. I got into a career that I was never really excited about. And although it's a fairly highly compensated career, you know, it wasn't my passion, number one. Number two, had some significant healthcare expenses in the family, and you know, just never was really able to get ahead. Trapped in something that I didn't really enjoy. And so there I was trying to escape the rat race. And I've spent the last 15 years trying to figure out how to do that. I've done it now. I'm escaping the rat race at this point. And so that's what I wanted to talk about in this video, is just some basic principles, how to start your plan to escape the rat race. And we're going to discuss 5 things. So let's get right into it. The 5 steps to developing your own rat race escape plan. Okay, so number 1, and we're going to talk about several things that have to do with mindset. Okay, why is that important? We'll get into that. But number 1 is to have the right mindset about money. All right, now I have, through a little research, identified 3 levels of thinking about money. The first and the lowest level is the material or physical level of money. Now, I've got a whole video on this, so you can certainly check that out for more details, but I'll give you just a brief summary here because I think it's important for understanding how to escape the rat race. So the material or physical level of money is really looking at money as something that's real, when if we dig down into it, we find out that those dollar bills or whatever currency of your country, the area you live in, or that credit card, all of those things are really just symbols that we as a society have accepted as having some value. But the most basic understanding of it thinks of those things as real. The problem with thinking of money as real is that's all we're going after. And when that's all we're going after, there is very little, if any way, hate to make absolute statements, but there's very little, if any way, to get to escaping the rat race, getting to a successful level where you can get ahead. Okay, so who lives in that material or physical level? Well, basically everyone who's living paycheck to paycheck, who doesn't have enough paycheck to cover their month, that sort of thing. And not that there's anything wrong with those people. We all start there at one point, unless we were one of the lucky ones that was given a whole bunch of money by our parents or some relative. And what I found with those people is they very often don't ever escape it, that level, because they don't have to. They don't end up being terribly successful either. Okay, so what's the second level? That's the psychological level, and this is where the very wealthy hang out. They understand that money is a symbol. They understand that it in itself doesn't have a whole lot of meaning. They know how to get it. You look at the very successful, the Bill Gates of the world, the Jeff Bezos, all of those people that you think of as being extremely successful, extremely wealthy. The thing that they could do, they could lose everything they have. They could lose all of their money, all of their bank accounts, all of their property, all of their things. And in a year or two, maybe even a lot less than that, they would have it all back again because they know who they are, they know what money is, and they know how to get what they want. Okay? What is the third level? I like to refer to it as the spiritual, but you can use a lot of different names for it. I think as I explain it to you, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And this is service, basically. If you are of service, if you can provide value, money is going to come your direction when you do those things. Okay? Hard to get to that level and that understanding of money, but I think it's an easy concept to comprehend. All right, why are those thinking about money in that way important? Well, like I said, back with the material and the physical, if you never get above that level, you're probably not going to be successful because the things that we think in our mind have a lot of control over us. Okay, so what you need to do on that is just start learning about that. Learn to understand what money really is. Start working on that mindset. Do a little research on it. The fortunate thing is there's a lot of garbage on the internet, but we've got this great place that we can do research. So have your filters on to try and get rid of the garbage, but do a little research on that. Okay, so the second step in developing our rat race escape plan, and it's another mindset one, and that's having the right mindset about things. Okay, now this is very closely related to the first one, but there's enough of a difference that I thought we needed to talk about it. Okay, so many of us get caught in the trap. I'm sure we all have at one point or another in our lives, maybe many, of what car we drive, what house we live in, what our wardrobe looks like, what shoes we wear, whatever. You can probably think of a million more examples. And that has to do with who we are and what we are. And there's nothing further from the truth. Who we are and what we are is completely unrelated to the things that we have. And again, until we can work on that mindset and the things aren't really what's important. Now, there's nothing wrong with any of those things. There's nothing wrong with having any of those things, but that shouldn't be what defines who we are. If it is, we're going to have a tough time being successful. We're going to be constantly swayed by the latest product, the latest car, the latest whatever that we want, and we're never going to have that successful escape the rat race kind of attitude. Now, I'm sure you all know really successful people who have a lot of things. But for most of them, those things don't define who they are, or they wouldn't be where they are. Okay? All right. One of the reasons that's so important is we're going to go on to number 3, and that is controlling expenses. Now, again, you've seen someone who doesn't control expenses at all. They have whatever they want. So why are we worried about controlling expenses? Well, most people who have gotten to the point where they have whatever they want at some point went through some times when they were controlling their expenses. And I think you will actually find that most of the people who appear to have whatever they want are fairly careful about their expenses as well. It just doesn't look like it because of the scale, the height that they have reached. Okay, so controlling expenses is really important. We're not going to spend a lot of time with that because there are a lot of people out there who talk about getting a handle on your expenses. I think of someone that I've looked at a lot of information from, Dave Ramsey in the past. I think he's got a lot of good concepts But, find somebody that works for you. I just wanted to throw one name out there of somebody that's quite popular in that area. But there's lots of information out there, so we don't need to spend a lot of time on that. Just understand that at some point you're going to need to work on controlling your expenses if you're going to get to the levels that you want to of escaping the rat race and still having the things that you would like. Okay? Number 4, and this is the big one, and 5 that's related to it we'll get to in a minute, but 4 is increasing income. Okay? Obviously, for most of us, we're going to have to increase income to get to the point where we can escape the rat race. Most of us are living on, even if we cut our expenses to, pretty basic needs and that sort of thing, we're going to have to increase the income to get to the point where we can escape the so-called rat race. All right, now, I have chosen to do that with an online business, specifically an affiliate marketing business. And I want to tell you why I have chosen that. There's several things that are important about an online business. One of the big things is an online business can run 24/7. There are people on the internet at all hours of the day. 2, in that, an online business, there are lots of aspects of that can be automated. Okay, lots of aspects that can go on while you're asleep, while you're on vacation, whatever. Now, I don't want you to get the idea that everything is easy. Those things still have to be set up. And the other thing that you hear about out there is gurus that have done-for-you systems. As far as I'm concerned, that's one of the biggest jokes that they play on us is done-for-you systems. Okay? Done-for-you systems are generally something that might have worked if you got in it just at the right time and worked very briefly. But what happens is eventually you get so many people involved in that system that whenever we see it on the internet, we get to some offer there or some website or funnel or whatever, and we immediately click out of it because we've seen it so many times, nobody wants to do it anymore. So who does the done-for-you system work for? It works for the person who started it in the first place, and again, for a fairly short amount of time. They usually make a killing on it, but anybody who gets involved in it, because it's not theirs, because they haven't done it themselves, it usually doesn't work. Okay? What else is important with an online, especially affiliate marketing system? Well, it's relatively low cost to get into. Okay, you need a few online software tools that you can use that are usually you can pay for monthly, relatively inexpensive. You need some marketing budget to start with in the first place. You probably need some education to learn how to do the type of business that you want to do. We're talking about a few $100s to a few $1,000. Not free. I don't want to give you the idea it's free. I'm trying to be completely above board with you. I don't want to be dishonest here, but we're talking about fairly small in comparison to the cost of getting into most businesses. If you're to get yourself anything that requires some space, you've got to rent space, you've got to have employees, you've got to have equipment, you've got to have whatever you're selling or whatever your service is. You're talking about tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars if you're looking at one of the good franchises, maybe even millions of dollars. It's a lot less expensive to get into than that. And yet it can, with some hard work, and not immediately, not 1 month from now, maybe not even 6 months from now, but in a fairly short amount of time, can be a full-time and even greater income. Okay, and it doesn't take that education that I talked about is not 4 years or 8 years or 12 years of college or whatever some of the higher paying jobs are out there. I just saw an article on the highest paying job, and it was an anesthesiologist. Well, that took 12 years beyond high school to get to the level where they could make that $270,000. We're not talking about that kind of thing. It doesn't take that kind of money. Okay, what else is important about an online business, an affiliate marketing business? Well, after you find something that can be successful, even at a small level, you can scale that. You can make it bigger. You can do more of what got you there, more advertising or whatever it takes, and build it to basically whatever level you want it to be. Okay, so those are the main things as far as an online business, especially an affiliate marketing business. Although it applies to a lot of online businesses, again, just do your research, figure out, make sure what makes the most sense to you. I like the affiliate marketing business because I'm not totally responsible for customer. In fact, I'm not responsible at all for customer service once the product is done. I'm selling other people's stuff and they're still responsible for that. I'm getting paid for the commission for the referral. Okay? So let's talk about the fifth and final step in creating our escape plan from the rat race. And that is to have the entrepreneurial mindset. Now, we've hinted at several of these in the process, but how do you think like an entrepreneur? How does an entrepreneur think? Well, an entrepreneur knows that he has to have really good skills in what he's trying to do. So he figures out how to get those things. He gets the education that he needs. An entrepreneur knows that he's going to have to do some work. So he takes responsibility for that. An entrepreneur knows, because he usually starts out by himself working on things, that he is or she is the one that is responsible. There's no one else to blame. Okay? This is one of the big keys right here. An entrepreneur doesn't have employees to blame, doesn't have a boss to blame, doesn't have, a company, doesn't have anything they do. They were responsible for themselves, so they don't make excuses. What else is important in the entrepreneurial mindset? What do they think about? An entrepreneur recognizes that their main business is not the product or the service or the groups of things that they're selling. An entrepreneur recognizes that they are their business. Okay? That's the basic underlying process. They know they need the skills. They know they need the education. They know that they're responsible, that they've got to do it. An entrepreneur sets goals, and an entrepreneur works on those goals every day to achieve what they want. Not only do they set the goals, they write down those goals. Okay? So that's the entrepreneurial mindset. So what are those 5 steps again? Have the right mindset about money, have the right mindset about things, control expenses, increase income, and have the entrepreneur mindset. Okay, so what do you need to do to get started? Well, I think it's really important that you look for the right education. Again, be very careful. If you need help with that, I'm certainly happy to give you some advice on that, some things that I think are good, both in principle and maybe even specific suggestions on finding the right education. Finding things that help you with your mindset, good positive things, good things that help you be confident about it, because you're going to go through some steps that are difficult. You're going to have some setbacks once in a while. You have to have that great mindset, that great attitude. You have to have the skills necessary to do it. Okay? I think also really important is to find yourself a good mentor or a group of mentors. And they may not be people that are right around you. In fact, some of the people right around you may discourage you in this process. Really important that you have a mentor, at least one person that you can talk to or learn from. Doesn't always have to be a direct relationship, but somebody who can guide you in the right direction. Okay? I think those are several steps that you can get started with to get yourself on the road to developing a plan to escape the rat race. All right, I hope that's been helpful. If it has, definitely hit the like button. Let me know that you like it. Give me some comments. Again, Escaping the Rat Race, my channel is loaded with information about that. And don't forget the link to the 4-day free course on developing your own successful online business. All right, I'm Daryl Ballard, and we will see you in the next video.